Hey guys, fantastic evening to be alive here. We've got sweet palm trees and everything. Check this out. Oh, life is so good, man. There's so many cool places in the world and so many great things. Hey, I was doing some mentoring and teaching this morning and rereading this fantastic book, and I had to share this idea it's actually quite challenging. And for some of us, I remember when the first time I had this realization, it was almost like a slap in the face. You're like, oh, that kind of hurts. And we even, like, when I tell you this, you're going to see what I'm talking about, but we even kind of want to resist it sometimes, think, no, that can't be, because it forces us to have a ton of accountability and responsibility for our lives. And we want to excuse that away, right? Every chance we get, we're like, no. It's like it's that thing. We want to blame. We want to make excuses. We want to have, we want to tell ourselves stories about why. But like this is transformational. And once we fully acknowledge this truth and this principle, and then we own it and internalize it, like totally transforms our lives. But it's actually a kind of hard one. And because it's difficult, aren't you just dying to know what it is? Because it's difficult, very few people actually do it, right? And so the rewards of this principle are reserved for the few who are willing to honestly accept it and embrace it. Whoo! Are you dying to know? This is a game changer, like changed my life. When we embrace this and understand it, like transforms your life. It literally moves you from where you are to a new position of power, like levels you up. So now you're in a place where you can have more control and direction in your life, and it actually brings you tons of freedom right here, and freedom right here, and freedom in life, and freedom in our relationships. It's so powerful. Ready? You ready for it? Actually, so here's how I'll introduce it. The idea has been taught again and again by the great thinkers and the great leaders and the great philosophers and teachers throughout all time. I read it in a book that I was teaching from today. And while I was working out this morning, I went for a bike ride and I was cranking out my push-ups, listening to an awesome book. And this book is about earning a world-class education. And he was referencing Hamlet. And he quotes Shakespeare that says, "Nothing is good nor bad except," he doesn't use the word except, "but thinking makes it so." Let me repeat that. Nothing is good or bad, but thinking makes it so. This principle is about our perception, right? It's literally the meaning that you and I give to the thing, okay? Now, Shakespeare was so bold to say, look, it's neither good nor bad except what you think about it. If you think it's good, it's good. If you think it's bad, it's bad. Henry Ford said, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. Right? And Marcus Aurelius taught that this same principle, like it's how you perceive it. If you perceive something to be negative and to be anywhere and stopping you, then it becomes that thing. But if you see it as an opportunity to grow, a challenge to help you improve and change, like the challenge that changes you, right? Then that's what it is for you. And literally it's like the law. It's this law of perception, this law of meaning, and the situation, the experience, the relationship, the obstacle, the challenge, the failure, the mistake, whatever it is, our past, our future, our present, like everything in our lives will have the meaning that we give it. Does this make sense? And do you see why this is hard? This is a difficult thing because we got to wrap our mind around it, and then we have to own it. And so you're saying to me, I know right now in your mind, you're like, wait a minute, whoa. So if you're saying if like somebody does something really mean and rude to me today, that I can just say, oh, that was a good thing and it's good? And my question to you is, can you? how would that situation be different if you chose to see it differently? Right? What if you actually, you and I'm not perfect at this, I'm still working on this, but when I shifted, it changed my life. What if we saw challenges, obstacles, setbacks, when things don't work out like we hope? What if we chose to see those as opportunities to learn, to grow, to improve, instead of setbacks and obstacles and another reason to whine and cry and complain, another reason why my life is so hard and miserable, and why does this happen to me? Instead, we choose to see it as like, here's an opportunity. Here's a chance. Now, it seems crazy, doesn't it? It seems ridiculous that when something doesn't work out, I say to myself joyfully, sweet, here's an opportunity. That seems crazy, and this is why it's so hard for most people, because something falls in front of them and they're like, see, I shouldn't have come down this road. And when I was teaching this morning, I asked, like, what do most people do when some kind of obstacle lands in their way? And the vast majority of people will quit. They'll whine, they'll cry, they'll complain, they'll give up, they'll think, see, I tried, it didn't work out, I can't do it. Or they'll stop. They'll sit down. Some people literally in life, they'll just sit down and like, okay, I'm done. I was going forward and now I'm not. So whatever happens. But literally everything, you guys, everything. Even now, man, this is sensitive too, but even death. What if we chose to see death as progression, right? As a step in the soul's journey. Yeah, we miss people. Yeah, it hurts. We love them, right? We don't want them. We don't want to lose them. But what if I chose to see that as this progressive journey in their soul's path, right? And when obstacles and challenges and setbacks and struggles and trials and hardship happen, we see them as opportunities. This isn't an obstacle, it's an opportunity. And of course it's an obstacle, but it's an opportunity to learn how to go through it or over it or around it. It's a chance to get new skills. It's a chance, you guys, I love this idea. Is this kind of exploding for you? I hope it is. I want you to look at everything because it's this chance to get revelation about ourselves. Like, so I'm rolling along, something happens, boop, and it pops up and like, okay, now I have a chance to understand myself better. If somebody says something mean, or sometimes they just say something, do I take it personal? Whoa, what's happening? If I get to a situation or a circumstance that's awkward or uncomfortable, most of us, we just cannot stand discomfort. We just, I gotta get out of here, right? Anything that's awkward or uncomfortable, we usually shy away from it. Or we go into fight or flight mode. We get real aggressive or we take off. But what if you can just settle with your discomfort and say, okay, this is a little bit uncomfortable. In traveling all around the world, and as much as we do and the way we travel, I've seen so many incredible things and kind of crazy things. And I've seen, especially, the best way to see this is in an intense situation where there's a natural disaster or something upsetting, something that makes people react. And I literally would see some people just collapsing, like pass out. Some people start crying. Some people getting really angry. Some people getting all nervous and tense and screaming and yelling, and other people like just totally disconnecting. Others taking action, getting engaged. Others starting to lead out and give directions, right? And you see this whole range of human response, and it's fascinating. I love, that's almost like a human experiment where you get to sit back and watch human behavior, human psychology, the mindset and the heart set and the skill set, where they take action, and you can clearly see right away those who can choose with their minds how to see a situation. And so I want to invite you to do this. Can you see how this can be transformational? Maybe I'm not articulating this very well, but I want you to see how this can like totally transform your life. And I want you to take a good look, just step back and just start noticing. This is all I want you to do. I just want you to start noticing. When something happens, anything happens today or tomorrow and going forward, like anything happens, like just pay attention to your mind, how your mind perceives it. Okay? You're going to try something and there's an obstacle. Or it doesn't work out like you think, or you try something and you make a mistake, or you expect someone else to do something and they don't do it, right? I mean, you go through all these things. We can do it with our marriage, with parenting, with work, with studies. I mean, we can go through everything, but literally just go through and look at your stuff and just say, what meaning am I giving it? Ask that question. What meaning am I giving this? And then ask yourself, what if I gave that a different meaning? And watch how it totally transforms your life. And I was able to go from this spot where I was pretty reactive and I had a temper and I'd get angry about stuff and somebody do something and I literally believed that I had to be angry because someone else did something. And when I said, wait a minute, I'm giving that meaning. What if I just stop and say, well, that's their stuff. Like what they do is between them and God and whatever. Like that's their stuff. I don't have to own it. I don't even have to react to it. And they can be mean to me. They can say things like, whatever. Like, I'm not going to take on other people's stuff. When I stopped and said, whatever they're doing, I give that meaning. So before I was like, oh, it's an attack at me. They're hurting me. They're ruining my day. And when I switched that, like, whoa, no. I'm switching. I'm giving the meaning back to them. Like, that's them. That's their thing. They're probably struggling with something. They're probably having a rough go. Like, but like, that's their stuff. I'm not taking it on because I'm not giving that meaning in my life. It's like, no, there it is. Boom. Freedom. So much freedom, mental freedom, emotional freedom, freedom in my relationships, freedom in life to go, wait a minute, whatever comes along, everything, whatever comes along through life, I get to choose what meaning I give it. Oh! And so instead of this like super reactive roller coaster of psychology and emotions, right? Because life is crazy. You get stuff happening to you all the time from every direction. Life is just like that, right? And I'm guessing here that a lot of you watching this experience that roller coaster. Highs and lows, up and down, and then flat because nothing's happening, and then boom, 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 and you're all over the place because mentally and emotionally we're just reacting to all these things. And when we stop and we take back full accountability and responsibility and say these things only have the meaning that I give them, and if it's not serving me to give it good meaning, I'm not going to anymore. And I put my meaning where it matters. And I choose to put meaning on the things that really do matter to me. And the things that don't matter, that are trivial, that are just kind of there, I'm not going to give them much meaning. Like, nah, it's not a big deal. Oh, it's awesome. So I want you to start observing that, start paying attention, and start choosing. And literally it's a choice. I know I'm making it seem really easy and simplified. But honestly, at the end of the day, it literally is just a choice. What meaning are you going to give that? Make a choice. And if it doesn't serve you, if it doesn't make you happy, if it doesn't benefit you, then don't give it that meaning. Choose to see it differently. And then you can start altering the way you see your own past, the way you see yourself, the way you see others, the way you see the world, the way you see life, the way you see religion and politics and money and everything else. It's so awesome. So start today and start remembering this thing that nothing is good or bad except thinking makes it so, right? And nothing has meaning except the meaning that I give it. And you can see this everywhere as you watch and observe yourself and other people. Like a big group of us could go and have the exact same experience, and every one of us responds differently because we give it different meaning. And so meaning is determined not by the experience, but by ourselves. Oh, I love this stuff. Okay, you guys, awesome is always an option. Reach upward.